welcome back to Food Prep Guide. Today we are making up some pantry mixes that we like to keep on our shelf for quick and easy suppers, some snacks, some desserts, even some breakfast items. These are just some mixes that you might normally buy at the grocery store, like pancake mix or like an onion soup mix, cream of chicken, cream of celery, that kind of thing. That we just like to make on hand from the pantry staples that we already have so that we can save money by not having to buy those items at the grocery store. So I thought I would bring you along today as I refill my pantry with 5 make-ahead pantry mixes, and I hope that they are helpful to you. I hope you enjoy them as much as we do. Let's get started with the first recipe. Welcome to Food Prep Guide. My name is Jordan. I'm a homeschooling mom to 3, living on 3 beautiful acres with my wonderful husband. A health crisis forced our family to change the way we think about food. Unfortunately, it also put us in financial hardship. Thankfully, the solution to both challenges was the same: to live off the land as much as possible. For us, that means growing a garden, preserving the harvest, raising chickens, and cooking from scratch. It's definitely a family affair. And friends, too. Meet Stacy, researcher, author, and lifelong learner. She entered the world of food preservation in the crazy days of 2020. She joined a gleaning co-op, and a local grocer offered her clearance produce in bulk. And so the adventure began. Together, we're reclaiming the old ways of food stewardship and teaching them to the next generation. If there's one thing you should know about us, it's that we love Jesus and seek to steward his blessings wisely. Our table always has room for one more, so y'all come join us. This first recipe is a sweet quick bread recipe. Now we're just going to be making the base of the dry ingredients, but when it comes time to cook, all you have to do is add in just a few other ingredients, and you can make banana bread, chocolate chip bread, strawberry shortcake bread, dried cranberry and pecans. I mean, the options are endless. So for now, we're just going to prep up 4 quarts of this bread, and then we'll go through how to use it. At the end of this video, I'm going to go through how to use all of the mixes that we're making today. But for now, we're just going to prep our jars, and then we'll have that conversation together. So first, to each jar, I'm adding 2 1/4 cups of flour. I'm not going to worry about making a big mess. This is one reason why I love big batch prepping days, because I can get my kitchen good and dirty one time and have my shelves full of all the things that make meals fast. And I should have refilled my flour container before I started this, but that's okay. Just have to pause it. I need more flour. Be right back. Okay. Okay, that's 2 cups in each one. Now I need 1/4 cup in each one for a total of 2 1/4 cups of flour. I can hear my goats yelling from in here. It's feeding time. They know it. Okay, that's it for the flour. So the next ingredient is going to be 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Next is 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Sometimes I've used pink salt before. I like to use my Celtic salt for this. Both of them work just fine. 1/2 teaspoon. Next is 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, ground cinnamon. I've also done my base recipe with pumpkin pie spice as well. The ingredients just seem to go so well with lots of different flavors of quick breads. But today I'm just going to be doing cinnamon. So 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Last but not least, it will be 1½ cups of sugar. I'm just going to eyeball the ½ cup of sugar. Okay, there we go. I'm not even going to worry about mixing them up right now. We will do that when it comes time to actually make it. We'll just dump it in a bowl, add our wet ingredients, and we'll be good to go. This is one of the instances that I reuse my lids, my canning lids. You can see this is broth from December 23. We can certainly reuse our canning lids for storing dry goods. Colby Jack. Haven't done that in a while. Okay, sweet quick bread is done. Let's move on to the second recipe. This next recipe is a homemade pancake recipe. We typically eat breakfast for supper every other week, and my family was getting kind of bored with the standard pancakes. So one day I tried adding some pumpkin pie spice to it, and then I added a cup of our pear sauce or applesauce. And it was a hit with everybody. So now that's what we do. So this is the base recipe for making up those pancakes. So we need to start out with 2 cups of flour. Next, we need ½ cup of sugar. And to that, we'll add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And to that, we'll add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Next is 1½ teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. And I'm just going to do one heaping teaspoon. A little bit more on that one. Okay, next is ½ teaspoon of salt. And last is 3/4 cup of buttermilk powder. We get this at Azure Standard. They seem to have the best price on it. But you can also get it on Amazon, and I believe Walmart online has it as well.
I'll try to find you a good brand on Amazon and link it in the description box below. But we use a lot of buttermilk powder to make our biscuits, pancakes, and even some of our meal in a jars that are pasta based with like a white, creamy white sauce. We use buttermilk powder in those as well. And again, at the end of this video, we will discuss how to use each of these recipes when it comes time to actually use them, to actually cook them up. But there is our pear pancake mix. And I guess right now it's not necessarily pear pancakes. It can be pretty much any kind of pancakes you want it to be. Okay, 4 quarts of pancake mix. On to recipe number 3. This next recipe is one of our favorites. It is a cranberry oatmeal cookie, and it starts off with just a cookie in a jar mix, and all we have to add is like some melted butter and an egg, I think, and maybe a splash of vanilla extract. But just prepping these jars ahead of time means I can bake up a pan of cookies if we have some unexpected company, or if a sweet tooth strikes and we don't have anything else on hand, or just one of my kids is begging me for their favorite cookies. I can throw them together pretty easily. So to start, we need 1 1/4 cup of flour per jar. And 1/4 of a cup. Next, we need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Make sure I've got the right measurement here. Nope, that's not it. Here we go. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Next, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Next, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Next, we need 3/4 cup of brown sugar. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. And to that, we will add 1/2 a cup of oats. I've made these before with the quick cooking oats, and I do like the instant oats better than using whole oats, but I don't want to get out my blender right now and blend these up. Just in case you don't No, the quick cooking oats is just regular whole oats that have been blended up a little bit. And I just don't feel like getting out my blender and doing that. And I've made them with whole rolled oats whenever I didn't feel like getting out the blender and doing it in the past, and it tastes just fine. So either way works. Half a cup of dried cranberries is next. Last but not least is our chocolate chips, and we need 1 cup of chocolate chips. Sometimes I'll do dark chocolate, sometimes I'll do semi-sweet. I'm just going to do some semi-sweet today. And that is 1 cup. Okay, there we go. 4 quarts of our oatmeal cranberry chocolate chip cookies. I'll be sure to let y'all know how to cook those up when we're done making all these mixes. Give you some ideas for making all this stuff. Okay, recipe number 4. Recipe number 4 is an onion soup mix. This is like your Lipton onion soup mix, but just with some cleaner ingredients, and we use it on all sorts of stuff, as well as mix it into sour cream for just like a French onion type dip with some chips. So I usually make a pint. We're going through it a little bit faster than normal, and so I'm going to go ahead and make up a quart today. So I'm going to double my original recipe. So we need 1 cup of beef broth powder. You could also use beef bouillon. Whoops, get back in there, junk. Into that, we're going to do 2 cups of dried minced onion, and actually, this is just shy of 2 cups. I need to get a little bit more. I'm just going to open up this other jar and use that last jar to measure it out. So I need 2 cups of minced onion. Into that, we need 1 tablespoon of, 1 tablespoon of pepper. Where's my pepper? There it is. 1 tablespoon of pepper. I'm going to go a little bit light. I do not want it to be too spicy. Next is, where am I? 2 tablespoons of parsley, which it looks like I probably have just shy of 2 tablespoons there, so I'm just going to pour that straight in. Next is half a tablespoon of salt. I need to refill my salt jar. Whoops. I only wanted half a tablespoon, didn't I? Okay, there we go. And that is it. I'm going to get one of my tall, skinny spoons. Actually, I'm going to get a fork. So I usually do this in a mixing bowl, mix it all together really well, and then pour it into my quart jar. But last time I made this, I was like, I wonder if I could just mix this straight into the quart jar and not have to dirty up another bowl. I have a tendency to do that if I don't have to add to my dishes. And I won't, but it seems to be working okay. Maybe a little bit more difficult. I'm going to put the lid on and give it a shake. See if we can shake it up real good. Oops, I forgot my onion powder, I think. Did I do the onion powder? No, I didn't. Let's go back and do the onion powder. I need 8 tablespoons of onion powder. I'm so glad I saw that because this is an onion soup mix. That'd be terrible. That'd be terrible if I forgot the onion powder. Okay, I need 8 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I have to count out loud or I will forget where I am. Okay. Here we go. Looks like some beef powder stuck there at the bottom. Okay, and there is our onion soup mix. On to the final recipe, number 5. Okay, this last recipe is our cream of master mix. That is just a dry mix that we're going to replace all of our cream of chickens, cream of celeries, and all of that. When we go to actually cook it, we'll toss in some mushrooms. If we want cream of mushrooms, we'll toss in some celery. If you want cream of celery, and so on. As is, it can be used as cream of chicken exactly as is. So to start, we need 2 cups of milk powder, which is here, actually. That's just shy of 2 cups, so I'm just going to pour that straight in. 2 cups of milk powder. I do recommend whole milk powder, not the instant non-fat milk that you can, that's most popular like at Walmart, the grocery store. The whole milk powder adds, it's just much more flavorful. Next is 3/4 cup of arrowroot powder. Arrowroot powder is just an alternative to cornstarch, so if you use cornstarch, if that's what you have on hand, you can certainly use that. I'm going to be using arrowroot powder today. 3/4 cup of that, and this is our thickener. This is what helps it get nice and thick and creamy when we go to cook it up. And to that, we need 1/4 cup of our chicken broth powder. You can use chicken bouillon. Whoops, I don't think I'm going to have enough. Well, maybe. Let's see. 1/4 cup of that. Yep, just enough. So 1/4 cup of either chicken bouillon powder or chicken broth powder we recommend. Orrington Farms, been using it for years and we love it. Nice, clean ingredients. And 1 tablespoon of salt. I'm going to switch to my pink salt here because I'm almost out of my refill. I need to refill my Celtic salt. So 1 tablespoon of salt, and then 2 teaspoons of whatever type of spices that you want in here. I find that garlic and onion pretty much goes well with any type of cream of soup that I'm making, so I just do a teaspoon of garlic and a teaspoon of onion powder. Sometimes I'll throw in some parsley as well. Okay, give that a good mix. Where's my lid? There it is. Okay, there is our cream of soup master mix. Okay, I'm going to tidy up, get cleaned up, and then let's chat about how to use everything we made today. Okay, y'all, we are done. Look at all of these beautiful jars we get to put up on our shelf. So let's talk real quick about how to make these up when you're ready to go and use it. Now we have a whole video dedicated to the cream of master mix recipe. So I'm going to link that in the description box below if you would like to go into more details about how to make this up. But basically you're just going to add a little bit of water, melt some butter, put this in, and if you want celery, add some dehydrated celery. You can certainly use fresh celery as well. For cream of mushroom, we toss in some dehydrated mushrooms. We keep all of these things dehydrated on hand so that we can pair all of those dehydrated things with this one master mix and replace all of those cans. So that whole video, I will link that in the description box below if you're interested in learning more about that. For this next one is our onion soup mix. So one of the things that I have been using this a lot on lately is just sprinkling it on chicken in the crock pot. It is such an easy base recipe, and I can just make some chicken thighs and serve that with some sides and call it a day. Or I can season it this way, like put some chicken in the crock pot, put a little bit of water or some butter in the bottom or even lard, sprinkle this on top, let it cook, slow cook all day, and then it is a wonderful, flavorful chicken that I can then shred and use into any kind of casserole or even like tacos and stuff like that. I can use that in any kind of base mix and turn it into a meal. And this is seasoned. It's just really delicious, sprinkled on chicken. To make this into an onion dip mix that you would just eat, snack on with some chips, you would use 1/3 cup of powder to 1 cup of sour cream. Actually, let me make sure. Is it 1 cup or 1 container? 1 container. Ooh, that'd be really strong. Okay, 1/3 cup of onion soup mix to a whole container, a 16-ounce container of sour cream, and that's going to give you your French onion dip. Okay, next is our cranberry oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. Let me talk to you about how to make that up. So when it comes time to make, you will just put a pot on the stovetop, melt 2/3 cup of butter, and then take it off the heat, and then add 1 egg and 3/4, and I've always up it to 1 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Mix that up. While that's melting, you can get a mixing bowl out. Just open up your jar, pour it into the mixing bowl, mix all those ingredients around. By the time your butter is melted and you mixed in your egg and vanilla, pour that on top, mix it together, bake at 350 degrees for 12 minutes, and you're done. So it takes about 5 minutes to melt that butter, mix in that egg and vanilla, pour it over this, and you're ready to pop those cookies in the oven. It could not be faster. And I know it's still a dessert. It has plenty of sugar in it, so it's definitely something that we don't want to overdo it on, but it is so much cleaner ingredients-wise than the cookie dough at the store. If you have ever flipped the box over, read what is in that cookie dough, it might shock you. Or if you're like me, sometimes it's just like, I don't care, I'm just going to eat it anyway. I'm not going to, just don't tell me what the ingredients are. I've done that in the past. But these homemade cookie mix, having it on hand in the quart jars makes it almost as fast as just buying the ready-made cookie dough at the store. It's just a few more extra minutes to melt that butter, and that's it. Okay, next is the pancake mix. So the pear pancake mix. So I told you, I think I discussed about how my family was getting tired of regular pancakes. So I had this pear sauce that I made up for, was it 2 years ago? Yes, 2 years ago. And added some of that pumpkin pie seasoning, which we put together in the base mixture. And it is delicious. I have since tried it with applesauce as well, and that's good. You could even do a little bit of blueberry jelly. You can put jellies and jams in this mixture as well to give it more of a fruity type pancake. This pancake mixture is just so good with that buttermilk powder in it and that just a hint of pumpkin pie spice in it, and it pairs well with so many things, and it just makes it not just plain pancakes that can be kind of boring after a while, but really kicks it up a notch. So when it comes time to make, let's see. When it comes time to make, you will melt 3 tablespoons of oil. We choose coconut oil. You can certainly use vegetable oil if you like. If you're using vegetable oil, you won't have to melt it first, but the coconut oil is usually solid at room temperature, so I usually have to melt 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. Then you're going to add 1 cup of whatever kind of fruit sauce that you want, and 1 cup of water and 2 eggs. So you're going to mix up those liquid ingredients, and then you're just going to open up your jar, pour all the ingredients into your wet ingredients, mix it up, and you are ready to fry up your pancakes. It's just that easy. Last but not least is our sweet quick bread. So this is going to be all of those banana breads, chocolate chip breads, everything, all of those quick type breads that don't necessarily need to ride or rise, that don't necessarily need to rise and are more of a dessert or snack type bread. So I got a few things out that I wanted to share some ideas for just quick mix-ins that you can add into this quick bread. Now the base recipe, when you go to make it, you will, in a separate bowl, mix 1.5 cups of milk, 3 eggs, 6 tablespoons of oil, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Get all that mixed in, open up your jar, pour in your mixture, and that's your base recipe. Now you're ready to add in whatever mix-ins you want. Now, while the base recipe needs to be precise as in measurements, your mix-ins don't have to be precise. You can put in whatever you want and whatever quantity that you want. So here are some ideas. We love just a regular cranberry quick bread, and that is just that's just mixing in some dried cranberries. Sometimes I'll do half a cup, sometimes I'll do a cup. It doesn't really have to be an exact science for your mix-ins. So the next one that we like to do is a pumpkin bread. This is dehydrated pumpkin powder, and if you have pumpkin powder, some water, and some pumpkin pie spice on hand, you have the makings for a very fast, very delicious pumpkin bread. And you didn't even have to go to the store and buy canned pumpkin, especially when it's out of season. That's usually on sale like in October, November. But if you can get your hands on some pumpkins when they're in season that time of year in the fall, dehydrate them and powder them, you can make up so many wonderful pumpkin flavored things, quick and easy. Just add water. As far as how much water to add, you're just going to sprinkle maybe about 1/2 cup of powder into a bowl and slowly add water and constantly mix until you get the consistency of pumpkin puree. If you want it nice and thick, you can do less water. If you want it thinner, you can do more water. It's not an exact science. So that is another favorite of ours. Another favorite is just some typical chocolate chip banana bread. I'll just toss in some chocolate chips. I will toss in some squished up really nice and ripe bananas, and I usually like to add in a tablespoon or so of maple syrup. I find the maple syrup just goes really well with everything, but I don't want to overdo it because there is a good bit of sugar in the base recipe already. Another one is a fruit-based quick bread. So I have used some chunked strawberry jam in it before, but we also love this blueberry vanilla jam in it. Just a few dollops, maybe 3 or 4 of just scoopfuls mixed into the whole bread. It turns it beautiful colors depending on what kind of fruit you're using. But it is just a wonderful way to get a wide variety of flavors out of one base mix. I hope that was helpful to y'all. I'm excited to get all of these up on my pantry shelf. 5 pantry mixes that you can make instead of buy. You know exactly what is in them. It didn't take too terribly long for us to get it done, and we ended up with what, 15 jars? No, 12, something like that. Okay, I hope that was helpful to y'all. I hope y'all give it a try. We'll see you next time. Bye.